The last orbital that you need to draw is d orbitals, and I've got 2 tips on how to draw d orbitals. The first tip, for orientation dxy, dyz, and dxz, your lobes must be between axes. So you need to draw the axis first. For orientation dx square minus y square and dz square, the lobes must be on axis. So for these two, you need to draw the lobes first. Lobes are also called a shape. So let's try to draw dxy first. So dxy. Okay. So draw the axis first. The axis of x and y. So what axis between x and y? What is the remaining axis? Yes, that would be z. Okay, so draw a lobe between x and y. So your end should touch this intersection between x and y. Okay, sorry, I forgot one thing. The orbitals has a clover leaf orientation, clover leaf shape. So this is just 1, 2, 3, and 4 lobes. Okay, so see that this lobe is bigger than the rest of the tree, so you need to redraw it. Okay, let's try again. Okay, there we go. So this axis, this lobe must has z axis. So between x and y, there is z axis. So for dyz, so draw the axis of y and z first. So there is a lobe between y and z. Okay, and then remember that D has a clover shape. So you need to draw the rest of the 3 loops. So the axis between y and z must be x. For dxz, so draw your x and z axis first, and then a loop between x and z, 1 loop, 2 loop, 3 loop, and 4 loop. So this loop is bigger, so I need to redraw it. So the axis between x and z must be y. So note for these 3 shapes, dxy, dyz, and dxz, okay, 1 loop will be fully poke or ataupun cucuk and then emerge. Okay, see that the axis between, for example, dxy, the axis between is z, so this lobe is fully poke and this lobe will emerge. For dyz, x will be fully poke and then emerge, and for dxz, y axis will be fully poke and then emerge. For dx square minus y square, so for this you need to draw the lobes first. Okay, so let's draw our clover leaf first. 1, 2, 3, 4 lobes all together. So apa yang awak kena cucuk? X dengan Y. Okay, so this must be X axis. Meanwhile, this must be the Y axis. So Z axis would be in the middle of the lobes. Or you can change this X to become Y, or this Y to become X. So ingatlah, satu kena fully poke, satu emerge. Okay. For this Z square, okay, so buat note dulu. So note for this Z square, Z axis is drawn vertically. So it would become easier for you to draw your dz square. So this is your, okay, dz square is quite complicated to draw. Okay, but first you need to draw two loops and label it as z axis, and your y-axis would be this line, and your x-axis would be this line. Okay, so you can change the x and y. It's up to you. Okay, either you want to change this y into x or this x into y, but z-axis must be drawn vertically for dz square, and that is because you need to draw the ring around the z. Okay, draw a ring around the z-axis, and then you need to shade it. You need to put on a shade on it. So this is your dz square, and please put a star on it, because question always asks you to draw dz square because it is quite complicated. That's the only reason why. So we don't draw the f orbital because it would be too complicated, and if you want to draw it, then you need to further degree in chemistry. For 2.2, there are three terms that you need to be note of. Okay, so the first one, electronic configuration, is just the same as SPDF notation. So this is how you draw your electronic configuration or SPDF notation, according to all the rules in 2.3 that you will learn later on. And for the set, if the question asks for the set of quantum number, you need to write it in order of n, l, m, s. Okay, for example, the n is equal to 5, hence the l equal to 2, m equal to -2, and s equal to +12. Okay. So you need to write, this is not your set of quantum number yet. You need to write it like this. And the third thing is to draw orbital diagram. Okay. So this is orbital diagram. Meanwhile, this all is the orientation of the orbitals. So this is the wrong orbital diagram. Okay. The reason is first because the arrow must be half-headed. Okay, so you need to draw a correct orbital diagram. So for 1s, it can be fully filled with 2 electrons. For 2s, 2 electrons, and 2p, 3 electrons. Yeah, you can draw it in the form of dash, this dash. Okay, you don't have to draw it in this kotak form.